This is Weston Park on the Shropshire-Staffordshire border. Weston Park was actually mentioned in the Domesday book, so, you know, it's been here a while. But the beautiful thing is, this classic boathouse and the fishery are available to everyone. Well, I reckon every carp fisher should have one of these. A classic stone-built boathouse. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Now, joining me on this Carp Crew is Jarret here. He's an expert at particle bait fishing, and that's what we're going to show you on this programme, how to catch these beautiful western carp on particle baits. Now, Brian, this is proper carp tradition, this, isn't it?
Oh, it's a fantastic old estate lake. We've got loads of huge carp out there waiting for us and a beautiful sunny day. I don't think that we could wish for anything better.
Not really. Well, anyway, let's go through the door to a magical world of carp fishing. Look at this. Is this ever a banquet fit for a Weston Park carp? Well, we hope so anyway. Now then, Brian, before we get into the fishing, let's define what is a particle bait.
Well, a particle bait can be any seed, nut, bean or pulse. Basically what they are is it's mass baits which are trying to replicate natural food. We've cooked them up in various different ways, added liquids to them.
So something like this hemp seed would be a typical particle bait. And they're a bit like the water snow, all crunchy and full of goodness inside.
Exactly,
yeah?
A lot of small seeds. I mean, they do replicate, they look very similar to mussels.
Yep.
You've got the small white shoot coming out of there, which is all the taste and the goodness coming out of the seed.
Yep.
It's like with all these particles, they do need to be prepared. We soak them for 24 hours, we bring them up to boiling point, just simmer them away for 20 minutes to half an hour, and that actually breaks an invisible seal, which goes around all these seeds, nuts, beans and pulses.
Well, I can see what happens to, say, these tiger nuts here. So you soak them for 24 hours, and these ones on the left are the unsoaked variety, and they're pretty unappetising. They're hard and tasteless, and they don't smell of anything.
Well, the first 24 hours of soaking actually rehydrates the nut itself, and then the cooking process just finishes it off and pushes the last bit of liquid into there. But what that actually does, I mean, if you look here, with the pure, I mean, that is pure extracted tiger. They're very sugary seed nuts.
That's almost liquid sugar, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Now, you mentioned that you obviously have a lot of mass feed baits, but there's some big ones as well. I mean, look at these kiddies here. Look at the size of these Brazil nuts. I mean, these are massive. Now, surely you're not going to put a massive bed of these down, or these really are just our target hook baits. So they're like, if we've got a bed of hemp here, that's the sort of thing that we want to stick on top of it, yeah?
Exactly. Or we can use it over a blend of different particles and nuts, and it just gives them more items of food to pick up. The more items of food they pick up, the easier it is to actually put a hook into a carp.
The longer they stay feeding.
The other thing is these liquids are just so sticky and gooey, and there's so much taste in there. So it's not just the actual particle, it's that taste that's coming away from it and created within the area as a carpet-type bait.
Well, it's got me wanting to eat them, and this is the great taste test. Very nice, very sweet. I think that's going to work. We need to get fishing.
Cool, that's a lovely looking swim.
It is indeed a lovely looking swim, but it's mine. Yours is down there, so be gone with you. Now then, I've picked this swim for some very good reasons. Up here to the left is a huge expanse of shallow water. And now, if we move around here, you'll see the main body of the lake. This is the deeper water, the big bowl of water where I suspect the bulk of the carp normally live. Where am I stood? Slap bang in the middle of these two areas. What I'm hoping is that fish moving from the deeps and the main body to the shallows and backwards and forwards, vice versa. Me, I'm at junction point. So I'm going to walk round to the far side, it's little fished over there, I'm going to wade out, bait all along there with all my tiny seeds and particles, and stop fish as they move in between. I reckon it's the perfect ambush point. Now, Brian, he's down there. I better go and find out what his swim's like. Well, here we are. I'm about 200 yards further down the lake, moving down to Brian's swim, facing the main body of the water. Look at it. No, this looks like a great swim, this, mate.
It's superb. I mean, this big open body of the lake is just perfect for spotting a big bed of particles out there.
Because this is where the potter fish are going to be, isn't it?
Oh, exactly. They're hanging around in this area. They feel very safe out there. So what we're trying to do is get a big bed of particle out there and just get them drifting over it and holding them in this area rather than sort of tight in areas where you're only going to get one or two fish at a time.
Now, while you're getting that spot in, well, let's have a look at this gunge you're putting in your spot. Because gunges, they're correct. Well, what a mess. What is it?
It's beautiful. We've got about 17 different mini particles there, and what we've also used is crushed particles to actually hold the whole lot together. And the last thing we want is it all to fly at the back of the spod. We've got a bit of tuna in there just to give it a bit of a fishy content and nice amount of oil.
I can smell it.
And over the top, just for good measure, pure tiger nut extract, so that it really makes it very cloudy and heavy.
Ingredient, I say a little bit of chilli in there.
Yeah, I mean the hemp's been cooked in a little bit of crushed chilli just to give it an extra kick.
There's a tip there, I think.
A little bit of salt.
Well, it smells fantastic. If that doesn't catch carp, I don't know what will. Now, he's putting all this out here. I need to get my bait in. If I don't, he's going to wipe the floor with me with this lot. Oh, yes. This is looking tasty. You know, when I was a kid growing up and I used to go fishing with my dad, he always wondered how we ended up getting messy every single time we went. Well, nothing much has changed. This is my bait. Now, what this is cooked hemp blended with water, and it's gone through a food processor. And what I did as well, I blended some tiger nuts up and some crushed bits of Brazils and all that and mixed it all in as well. It'll go into the water and create a lovely hempy slurry. But I've added some more things to it as well. Some microscopic fish meal pellets. These break down in all the slurry. They soak up the water and thicken it to allow me to spoon it in a bit better. And then, just to finish it all off, yeah, proper gunge. All the mashed up bits of chopped tiger nuts and some whole tiger nuts as well. And I'm just going to mix all that in. Like I said, I love getting messy when I go fishing. And that is my gorgeous mix. Now basically, I've got a lot of shallow water just in front of me here, and this little lot is going to get spooned in just beyond this marginal shelf. Just use my spoon as a prod to start with. It's always important that you do this so you don't drop down any deep holes and suddenly disappear over your head. Now, I can see that there's a ledge going down just there. Yep, there it goes. So, we'll do this and we'll stay right here. Now then, in goes the porridge, and then you just ship it out in the spoon. Look at that. It coats a really big area and gives a far better spread and gets that gungy particle spread collapsing in a great big plume through the water. That'll keep them digging around for hours. One last spoonful, that'll be enough for the night ahead. I'm fishing on the far bank there. It's an easy target to cast across to that nice big baited area. Job done. With the particle carpets laid, it's time to cast out our hook baits. I've gone for a couple of tiger nuts balanced with a sliver of cork just to negate the weight of the hook. Brian has gone for a mixture of tiger nut and Brazil nut hook baits. Once the bait is in, it's just time to sit and wait. Come on, Carp.
This pint glass contains thousands of tiny carp. They're only a week old and probably weigh no more than 0.01 of a gram. Now, this is a carp on growing pond, which is operated by Steve and Ben Gratwick. They would have stocked this pond 12 months ago with tiny fish the size of the ones in my glass. Let's take a look and see just how well they've got on. Oh, look at those little beauties. Check that out. Every one of those is a little perfect mirror carp. Absolute carpy perfection. So, Steve, what is the secret to getting these little fish that were in my glass the size of an eyelash to this in literally a year?
Well, Simon, I mean, we've crossed two really fast-growing strains of carp to produce these wonderful offspring.
Oh, they are crackers.
Yeah, they are.
Ben, is there anything else we need to look at?
Yeah, we use top quality food, which is high in nutrition. We've got spring-fed ponds, which gives grade A water, very high in oxygen, and it just gives these fish top environment.
They've obviously had a really good start in life. Just how big would you expect these little critters to be in maybe 2 years' time?
I've got one in the tank we can have a look at.
Wow.
Look at this one. What a beauty.
This fish is only 3 years old, and you'd expect that in another 10 or 12 years, if it's stocked into the right environment, a rich fishery with plenty of natural food, it could well reach weights of over 40 pounds in less than 10 years. Now we are talking serious carpy growth.
Well, the rods are out. I've got 2 on the far bank reed line there, picking up the fish as they move along that side. And I've got the other one a bit further along under an overhanging tree. But what I've got to do now is prepare, just in case I get a quick fish, to get some more porridge in. I'm just dibbling it in the bucket here. I think we'll have that one. Well, I do not believe it. That has been out 3 minutes. It's kiting tight along the far margins there. I've got to keep the pressure on. That has been out there minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes maybe. That's the instant appeal of this stuff.
Yeah, Kev.
Oh, mate.
Do you want me to net him for you?
Yes, if you won't mind.
Cool.
He shot
It's
up,
kiting well.
but he kited round the back of the weed.
Yeah.
So I've just kept a tight line on him and he just broke free from it. You know, you can feel them, but it's that dull sensation because there's there's about 3 tons of weed between you and the
Lovely
fish.
feeling when it pulls away and you realise you are still attached to the fish in the weeds.
You don't have to pull and pull and pull. You
No.
just keep a solid tension, and the fish eventually just saws its way through the line. It's a really good tip. That a lot of fish are lost in thick weed by people that lose patience and just try and pull and pull and pull. Let the fish actually pull your line out of the weed. It's a great way. Oh, he looks a tidy fish. I've just seen a little turn of him then. He looks a good one. Oh, yeah, there he is. Oh, he's a nice fish, isn't he, bro?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
He's a solid-looking fish. Clear water's very nice for spotting fish, but it's a bit worrying for playing them because you can see how big they are. Well, I wasn't expecting such an instant start. I've got to be honest, Brian. Not complaining, though. Getting quite close in now. This is the danger moment. Oof, big old tail come out.
I won't chase him, I'll just let you...
Last pull. Got him. Nice one, Brian.
Well done, Kevin.
That's a right result. We'll settle for that one, mate. He looks a beauty.
That's a cracker.
What a great start to the Western Particle Show. OK, right, let's have a look at him. Ooh,
That's a good fish.
I think that's going to be £20 judging by the bulk of him. Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Well, what a great start that is. It's shown the instant appeal. A couple of tigers have done the damage. Oh, there's the hook back. You can check it.
Just in case you're doing anything.
2 tiger nuts. There you can see them both.
Lovely.
Beautiful. God, what a cracking fish. Look how thick set he is. Oh. What were you giving for them?
All right, you're looking 24, 25. Look at the size of his paddle.
£25. What a beautiful fish.
Very thick set across the back as well,
Isn't he just? He's built for battling. No wonder he gave me such a scrap. Oh, what a great start to the programme. Let's hope we've got more to come. Welcome back to Western Park with particle bait expert Brian Jarret. Now, as you know, we've placed all our mass feed baits on the bottom, and the carp, well, they've moved in like a herd of grazing cattle. The particle bait tricks started to work brilliantly.
What a little cracker.
They really got their heads down on our mini baits, and over the next couple of days, Brian and I had a fantastic time catching several of these beautiful Western carp. They really do love particles.
Look at that, an absolutely cracking mid-20 common. These are State Lake commons. Absolutely gorgeous. Real deep colours, perfect scaling, absolutely beautiful.
I'm going to leave Brian catching carp over his carpet of feed, and instead I'm going to go stalking with particles. I found this lovely little corner. I've just stuck a little bit of chopped tiger nut in it. The sun will move around here later, and I have a feeling the carp will move in. That pre-bait could get him going.
OK, we're going to have a look at the rig I've been using today now. We've got 3 small pieces of chopped tiger on the rig, which are separated. These are going to appear a lot more natural on the lake bed, like the massive free offering particles we're putting out there. To cast that, what I tend to do is put a small piece of PVA foam nugget in between each piece of chopped tiger. This keeps it separated so it appears more natural. But the most important thing on this rig is a small piece of blowback tube. Because of when you're fishing particles, there's so many small baits out there. If you've had some kind of indication, you've brought the rig back in, you do tend to get a lot of line bites with fishing particles. If the piece of blowback tube is back down by the eye, then you've definitely had a take as the fish sucked it in and blown it back out.
I can see one fish down there. It looks quite a ghosty sort of common cat, very pale, very pale. Oh, hello. That one came out of nowhere. There's another one with it as well. That looks a tidy fish to me. They're the side on, and it's quite difficult sometimes to judge the size. They're just, oof. It's not difficult to judge the size now. Look at that. That's got to be 20 pounds. Got to be. Oh, you can see the flash of its mouth then, that big ghosty cat. It's got very white lips. They're sifting through the mud and silt, looking for any morsels. It's the perfect opportunity for those tiny little mass seeds of the particle attack. These fish are hungry. It's going to be a bit tricky to catch them in here, but I'm not going to miss this. Over the next couple of hours, I watch carp slowly drift along the line of the rhododendron bushes and feed on the pre-bait. Priming an area like this so that the fish gain confidence in a bait before you fish for them is usually a great way of getting a take. Unfortunately, on this occasion, they didn't take the bait, but they did give me a great display in how to swim. Well, that was a great example of natural feeding, but I don't think there were quite enough fish to get them competing to make a mistake with the hook bait. But there are lots of opportunities on this lake, so it's time to try somewhere else. This looks the perfect stalking spot. The silt has been completely stripped off the bottom here, and you've got a nice sandy, muddy bottom. If this isn't the perfect place to drop a tiny PVA bag stuffed with towel-dried seeds, chopped nuts and fish meal, I don't know what is. A couple of tiger nuts there just to tempt them. It's a tasty little package. I'm going to get it in the water. Right, now this spot, I've put some bait in. It's only 10 yards out. I'll flip that out there. Very short range. There we go, perfect. In with a handful of goo. Oh, go on, have some of that. And this is one of the other benefits of fishing at an old estate like this. Ready-made rod rests, perfect. 200 years old probably, made for the job. In it goes, and rod in, all set. I reckon this could work.
What I want to show you is how I prepare a Brazil nut to go onto the rig. First of all, just trim off the outer shell. It is quite a bit of shell on the Brazil nut, and we wanted to make sure that we take that off first of all. And that's the sort of size that I'm going to trim it down to, about 10 mm in diameter, a little cube shape. Now the thing with these nuts, although they are nuts, a baiting needle does go through it very, very simply, so you don't need any nut drill. As soon as I've done that, it's onto the rig, quite a long hair. The fish are feeding very confidently on the bait, small hook, and then just before I stick it out there, just a bit of a dip in some intense sweetener. It just gives it that extra little pull within the area, and that's the finished item.
I can see, oh, crikey, there's loads of them. There's a massive, great group of them just coming. Gotcha! Ah! Oh, I thought that'd come off then. It must have just flicked off its dorsal and I got masses of slack line. Oh, it's a lovely common. We talk about fish having a pack mentality and coming in and grazing. With these, I could see all of them. There must have been 20. They came in mob-handed and just munched the lot. Right, well, I've got one wet foot, and you know what happens when you've got one? You better have two. This one is mine. This is fantastic fishing. One of my very favourite styles of angling. Stalking them right in the edge and playing them on lovely light tackle. What a fish that is. Now try and keep him just below the surface. I don't want him on the top too long. Oh, now then, he might be mine now. Come on, come on, come on. Got him! Yes! Yes! Loving that. Loving it. Yes! What a beautiful fish this is. I'll just pop him onto the mat here. Oh, yes. Look at this. 20, 21 pounds perhaps maybe of common carp perfection. And this fish, and no doubt some of his mates have been coming here for a little top up on au naturel particles. Well, he just had 2 tiger nuts too many. But mate, I'm glad you did. Cheers. As I popped my common back in the water, I heard Brian's buzzers go yet again. The pack of carp really were having a good old graze on his carpet of particles. In fact, by the time I got round there, he'd already got it in the net. Oh, let's have a look at him. What was this one on, Brian?
That was on a Brazil nut.
Another natural bait.
Chopped down Brazil on top of the baited area.
What a beautiful fish again. What we've done in this programme is shown you a real contrast of styles of particle bait fishing. Brian here, as you can see, has used a bed of bait to great effect. They really have kicked in on it, haven't they?
They certainly have. I mean, the lovely thing is particle fishing is a traditional style. It's exciting. You can keep changing your hook baits around.
Yep.
And it's just a fantastic way of catching carp without all the... You don't need all the new high-tech methods, just
right.
totally natural baits.
But baits like this, a little piece of Brazil nut, they just can't resist. We really have shown you that natural baits have a natural appeal to natural, beautiful animals like this, particle baits. Give them a go.